Uh, Hello everyone. Our club is GIDAS, which stands for Genes and Diseases and Symptoms, and today we'll be presenting our sophomores and juniors especially will be presenting their work, their review paper and their conference posters that they've worked for the past rigorous 3 months. Here's the QR code for the journal, which consists of all the review paper that they wrote. So maybe preferably teachers, if you want to follow the presentations while looking at the review paper, then you would be great to scan the QR code for the journal. Without much hesitation, we will start with Andy Kang.
Hello everyone. Yeah, I'm Andy. Let's get started. So I'll be talking today about the chronic stress and how it impacts the hippocampal dependent memory. Does anyone know what the definition of stress is? Okay, no one. So stress is a natural physiological response to challenging situations, but when it comes to becoming chronic, its effect on the brain can be very detrimental. And one area of the brain that is very vulnerable to chronic stress is the hippocampus, which is located on the temporal lobe. As you can see, this one is what I'm talking about. Bye. Okay. So, talking about the role of hippocampus, it plays a key role in our memory formation, spatial navigation, and also emotional regulation. So, our main topic, chronic stress. To define chronic stress, is defined as a prolonged exposure to stressful stimuli or situations, and it has been linked to significant cognitive deficits, especially the hippocampal dependent memory processes. And although acute stress might enhance the memory consolidation, chronic stress can chronic stress can it has been consistently shown that it has detrimental impacts on the cognitive functions, especially for adults. Yeah. Going into deeper about the hippocampus, what kind of role does the hippocampus play in the memory? Does anyone know, anyone heard of hippocampus before? Can you say something? Oh, okay. What do you know?
I think it stores memory.
Okay, that's a good response. So to be exact, hippocampus, as I said, is a structure located in the medial temporal lobe and is critical for the formation of new memories and also memory consolidation from short-term to long-term memory. It is also essential for spatial memory, which allows individuals to navigate their environments, and in addition to its role in the declarative memory, which is the memory of facts and events, the hippocampus is also involved in the episodic memory, which is our ability to recall a specific past experience you had, for example, falling when you first rode your bike. Okay. And many studies have shown that the hippocampus is highly sensitive to the changes in the brain's hormonal environment, particularly the cortisol. Does anyone know what cortisol is? Okay, nice. It's a hormone, stress hormone, right? And it's released during stress. Under normal conditions, the hippocampus supports learning and memory by facilitating the encoding and retrieval of information coming from the outside world. And this process of memory encoding and retrieval is very essential for our everyday functioning. Like, for example, the classes you take, you try to memorize some key lectures the teachers give you, remembering like names of your friends, locations. But however, chronic stress can disrupt these functions that you have, that you can do by altering the structure and the function of the hippocampus particularly, ultimately impairing an organism's memory. And in fact, one of the first regions, as I said, to exhibit the noticeable changes by the chronic stress is the hippocampus. This was it for the role of the hippocampus in memory, and now we'll be going on to the mechanisms behind the stress-induced hippocampal damage. So, as I said, chronic stress triggers a mass release of cortisol, a hormone that helps the body cope with the stress. But while cortisol is essential in the short term, prolonged exposure of it can have damaging effects on the brain. High levels of cortisol can impair neurogenesis, which is like the process by which new neurons are formed, and especially in the hippocampus again. And research has shown that the chronic stress can lead to atrophy of the hippocampal neurons, reducing the overall size of the hippocampus. And it is thought as a result of reduced synaptic plasticity, so which is the brain's ability to strengthen or weaken the connections between the neurons, which are very crucial for learning and consolidating memory. And the cumulative effect, especially of these changes, is often a signal of decline in the hippocampal dependent memory processes, such as recalling the memories, of course, or consolidating new memories you get. And this was it for the mechanisms behind the stress-induced hippocampal damage. And going on to the long-term consequences of the chronic stress on memory functions. The long-term effects of chronic stress on memory can be very profound, as I said, and how adults who experience these prolonged exposures to stress can develop significant memory impairments that go beyond simple forgetfulness. And again, as I researched, it has shown that individuals with high-level chronic stress are more likely to exhibit the difficulties with tasks that require hippocampal functions, such as navigating spaces and forming new memories. For example, learning new information in classes. And such impairments are particularly evident in tasks that involve recalling detailed information or learning novel concepts, as these processes rely heavily on the hippocampal activity. And moreover, the cumulative impact of stress-induced hippocampal damage can lead to increased possibility in developing the indicator or the conductivity of cognitive decline. And in fact, individuals with chronic stress and smaller hippocampal volumes are at very heightened risk of developing cognitive disorders. And understanding these connections between the chronic stress and the hippocampal memory impairment is very crucial for developing strategies to protect our cognitive health. This was it for my chronic stress, how chronic stress can impact the hippocampal dependent memory, and yeah.
Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy, for that sweet presentation. Due to time constraints, we will move right on to Brian Cho's poster.
Hi, my name is Brian Cho. Have you ever had a scar that didn't heal properly, or turned red, or even became painful? You might think it's nothing serious, but sometimes it could be due to something called scar contamination. Today, I'll explain what scar contamination is, why it happens, and how you can prevent it. So first, I'm going to explain what is scar contamination. So scar contamination happens when bacteria, toxic chemicals, or heavy metals prevent a scar from healing properly. It's not just a cosmetic issue. If a scar gets contaminated, it can lead to infections, chronic pain, or even serious health problems. For example, a contaminated scar can be swollen, infected, or develop into a larger and more painful wound over time. And there are three main causes of scar contamination. First is poor wound care. If you don't clean your wound properly or keep touching it, bacteria can enter and cause infection. I think everyone here knows that our hands carry like thousands of bacteria and germs. So it is really important to wash the scar and your hand before you touch it or do some medical cares. Second, exposure to harmful chemicals. Toxic substances like pesticides or cleaning agents can damage the skin and delay healing. For example, if you touch clean products with gloves, without gloves, the chemical can irritate your skin and worsen scars. Third, heavy metal exposure. Toxic metals like lead and mercury can accumulate in the body and affect skin healing. People working in construction or facilities should be especially careful. And now I prepared 5 symptoms of scar contamination. Since health risks and symptoms of scar contamination is basically the same thing, I analyzed into 5 main symptoms that has really bad effect on it. So first is redness and swelling. If your scar stays red for too long, it may be infected. If the scar is something like a skin cut or something that causes blood from inside your body, the blood shell will form on top of the scar and it will protect your scar from the harmful environment. Second is persistent pain. A scar shouldn't hurt after it heals. So if you feel the pain from a scar that has been healed like 2 months ago, it's a big sign of that the scar has been contaminated. Third is pus or unusual discharge. Yellow or green fluids from your scar coming out from your scar is a sign that your scar has been infected, and in this case, it is really worst case, so it's really important to go see a doctor or have a medical support. Fourth, itching or burning sensation. Mild itching is normal, but excessive itching may mean it is contaminated. And lastly is a general fever. If the infection spreads to your scar, it will gonna have like a general effect on your body health, so you might feel sick overall. And next, we're gonna learn how to prevent scar contamination. So first is keep wounds clean and avoid harmful environments. Wash the scar with water and antiseptic and use antibiotic ointment. And also reduce exposure to harsh chemicals like pesticides or cleaning agents. Second is wear protective gear. Gloves and masks help prevent contamination a lot, so practice good hygiene with the gloves and masks and even more protective gears. And lastly, this is really important, see a doctor if needed. If you feel it's fine, but you have like the symptoms that I mentioned before, it is really bad because it's been contaminated or infected. So if you have those symptoms, go see a doctor right away. Scar contamination is more than just a skin issue. It can affect your overall health. By taking simple precautions, you can prevent scar contamination and keep your skin healthy and safe. Thank you.
Next is Brian Lee.
Hello. Today I'm going to be going over how social media breaks impact adolescent anxiety and stress, brought down to your hormones, genes, and immune system. So, social media is central to adolescent life. It connects us, but also pushes us against constant comparison and validation seeking. Research showed that this triggers stress-related biological changes, altering the HPA axis, cortisol levels, gene expressions, and even immune functions. I'm going to be going over and explaining how digital breaks can reverse these effects and preserve mental health. Unlike face-to-face conversations, social media has no pause button. Notifications, algorithm-driven content, and instant feedback hijacks all of the brain's reward systems. keeping adolescents physiologically hooked. This environment drives external validation through likes and comments, leading to chronic social stress. Over time, this desensitizes the brain to rejection, and it elevates the risk of anxiety, depression, and even emotional dysregulation. Now, chronic social stress disrupts the HPA. The HPA axis, where the axis controls cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone. Prolonged social media exposure, especially comparison or cyberbullying, keeps cortisol levels elevated. Eventually, this glucocorticoid receptor resistance, impairing gene expressions like FKBP5, which weakens the body's stress response. In result, brain regions like the amygdala and hippocampus sustain damage, which traps adolescents in cycles of anxiety, mood disorders, and cognitive challenges. The impact doesn't stop with just hormones in itself. Chronic stress activates conserved transcriptional response to adversity, also known as CTRA. This shifts gene expression, upregulating pro-inflammatory genes like IL-6 and TNF-alpha while suppressing antiviral defenses. This outcome is increased inflammation, fatigue, mood disorders, and a heightened risk of autoimmune diseases. Neurotransmitter systems are disruptive too, deepening anxiety levels and depression symptoms. Fortunately, this biological damage is also reversible. Study shows digital detox, mindfulness, and social support can reset HPA axis functions and normalize stress-regulated gene expressions. Brain regions like the hippocampus show reduced gene activity, producing neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to heal. Schools that adopt digital wellness programs see students regain emotional resilience and better manage stress response, like advisory. In the end, while social media connect us, constant use rewires our biology in ways that fuel anxiety and stress. Taking digital breaks reverses glucocorticoid resistance, reduces inflammation, and restores healthy gene expression, which all builds resilience for the future. Anyways, thank you for your time.
Next is Noah Don.
Hello everyone, my name is Noah Huang from grade 10, and today I'm going to be talking about how mosquito-emitted diseases are affected by temperature and climate change. Alright, so climate change is one of the most insidious growing conflicts that go under the radar. In 1982, the world changed, with the temperature rate going more than 3 times as fast, or 0.36 degrees Fahrenheit. This drastic change was the start of a change that could be inevitable to stop. This growing change in temperature around the world isn't just affecting the environment like the melting of the ice caps, which climate change has deteriorated at 13% per decade as of 2024 over the past 30 years, but has affected the wildlife as well, most of all, mosquitoes. Now, climate change has grown due to human industrialization. Things like global emissions from generating power and manufacturing goods can cause our protective ozone layer to deteriorate, which causes the sun's heating rays to greatly affect the planet. Mosquitoes thrive in hot weather, typically 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and the average temperature of the world is 15 degrees Celsius or 59 degrees Fahrenheit. And as this number continues to increase, so does the population of mosquitoes. This image below is a heat detective inquiry of Earth, and the middle is clearly the most affected due to the sun's rays impacting the center or the equator, as you can see right here. Mosquitoes are the deadliest animal on Earth, causing over 1 million human fatalities annually due to the disease they transmit, including malaria, dengue, and Zika. Climate change has led to a surge in mosquito populations, especially in the equatorial regions like South America and South Africa. As the ozone layer deteriorates, mosquito-borne diseases are spreading to more regions, increasing fatalities. And the global incidence of these diseases has risen sharply, with dengue cases skyrocketing from 500,000 in 2000 to 5.2 million in 2019. And while malaria remains a major threat, causing 249 million cases and over 608,000 deaths per year. And the two graphs below show Earth's global temperature maps right here. And you can see from the year 1901 to 2023, the heat index rises drastically, including this one here. And my graph right here shows how as temperature increases in the blue or red dots, so does the fatalities of mosquito-emitted diseases right here. In the peak, you can see that mosquito-emitted diseases can react the most at the highest temperature. So, in conclusion, the spread of mosquito-borne diseases directly coordinates to the increase in climate change and global warming, which the drastic shift in temperature around the world would make mosquitoes and mosquito-emitted diseases spread, making living difficult for many, as diseases like malaria, dengue, yellow fever, and many more would make for a lockdown and potential pandemics to spread. To be able to slow down or even stop climate change altogether would be an effective way to prevent more disasters around the globe. That was my presentation. Thank you.
Alright, we got 2 more presenters left, but due to time constraints, we will be presenting in a very quick manner.
So I do realize we're a bit short on time, so I'll finish it crisply, I guess. So my topics on microplastics and the environment. So what I did an overall review on what microplastics are. So as defined by the US EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency for the United States, microplastics are defined as plastics that are less than 5 millimeters in size. And you can find them in a lot of places. I can guarantee you right now that there are at least 1,000 microplastics in your body currently. And studies reveal that they pose a wide range of harm to both the environment and to human health. So I found that urgent research and policy action is needed to counteract these toxic effects. So this is just a small graph. It shows where you can find microplastics and environmental pollutants, the sources of environmental pollutants. For example, you can find them in hygiene products. So in your shampoo bottle or in your makeup products, you can find microplastics. And also in fast food wrappers, you can find microplastics in them too. So the mechanisms of toxicity, why are they bad for your health? So they induce tissue damage, pulmonary inflammation, and gastrointestinal dysbiosis. So the last one, I know it's a bit confusing, but gastrointestinal dysbiosis is just an imbalance in the gut microbiota, and that's really harmful for your overall body too. And they also leach endocrine disrupting compounds. For example, you might see BPA-free water bottles, and although they do say they're BPA-free, they still have microplastics in them. And evidence suggests, I think it's a landmark study that was published a few weeks back in the highly reputable peer-reviewed journal Nature, and it shows that in decedent brains, you can find microplastics in them. So you can find microplastics in the brain as well, and that also leads researchers into finding the neurotoxic effects of these environmental pollutants. So vulnerable populations, teens and infants are usually at a higher risk because of their underdeveloped physiological systems due to their weak immune system. So they're at a higher risk. So addressing the risk, so more studies have to be done, policymakers have to make policies so they address this issue with microplastics as well. And that's it for my study, and these are my references. Thank you.
Thank you, Senkis. Our final presenter is Manny.
Alright, so does anybody know what CRISPR is? Alright, that's fine. Well, CRISPR is a genome editing technology that allows scientists to modify DNA in living organisms. So, as scary as that looks, it's really simple. Does anybody know what a guide is at all? Top of your head, a guide. Please. Somebody? Alright, a guide, this will guide the Cas9 enzyme to the part of the gene that wants to be altered. And the Cas9 enzyme cuts the gene and makes its alterations. So, there's traditional cancer treatments like chemotherapy and radiation, but these often cause severe side effects. But recently, immunotherapy, particularly CAR T cell therapy, offers a new approach by using the body's immune system to actually fight cancer. What CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing does, it enhances this process by making immune cells more precise and effective at targeting tumors. We skipped that. And I went through one specific clinical trial in my research paper, and this also looks very scary, but we could break it down. There is 6 patients. These 6 patients have leukemia. And what we did is we put infused CAR T cells into these 6 patients to see if they have complete remission or any MRD negative at follow-ups. We'll go through what that is pretty soon. So the CRISPR edits that we actually did is we went over TRAC gene disruption, and what TRAC actually does is that it has graft versus host disease. Graft versus host disease is a condition that occurs when donor immune cells attack the recipient's tissues, and it happens because the donor's immune system sees the recipient's body as foreign. And we also alter the CD52 gene, and this happens with immune rejection. What is immune rejection? Immune rejection occurs when the recipient's immune system recognizes a transplanted organ or tissue, and in this case, it would be the infused CAR T cells, as foreign, and it would attack it. By altering these with CRISPR, we avoid and prevent these 2 things. Now, the actual methods of the clinical trial is simple. We gave 3 patients a low dose of these CRISPR-edited cells, and 3 patients a higher dose. Now, this is the graph right here. As you can see, I don't know if you can really see it, but 5 of the 6 patients achieved complete remission. Complete remission simply means that there was no disease left. It could still be there, but there was no signs of it. And 3 of those 5 had an MRD negative follow-up, meaning pretty much the disease was gone. This indicates that CRISPR-Cas9 technology has the potential to treat cancer for more complete remission rates. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the presentation of GIDAS sophomores and juniors, and thank you for coming.